A very good morning to all of you. We've been talking about Aristotle's views on tragedy with reference to chapter number 6 to 10 from his famous work on the theory of poetics. During our previous lectures, we talked about the overall structure of his book Poetics. Then we went on talking about his views on poetry in general as an art of imitation. Then we started focusing on his views on tragedy. Firstly, we refer to his famous definition of tragedy, and then we talked about the different aspects in this definition with reference to the object of imitation, the medium of imitation, and manner of imitation, and function of tragedy. And then in the last lecture, we talked about the six formative elements of any tragedy according to Aristotle, wherein we talked about plot, character, diction, thought, then spectacle, songs, etc. In this part of my lecture, I shall be talking about Aristotle's concept of the tragic hero. So this is the focus on character, but especially on the protagonist of tragedy, the central character of tragedy. According to Aristotle, the ideal tragic hero means we are understanding his views on the ideal tragic hero. Hero means the protagonist, major character of any story. So the ideal tragic hero should be firstly a man of eminence. A man of eminence means what exactly? Means a man who has got some social, cultural eminence, significance, or importance. So a man of tragedy can be in those days. Actually, of course, it is. We are talking with reference to Greek tragedy. So a man of eminence can be a king, a prince, a queen, such kind of people, who belong to a kind of uh, eminent position, maybe a knight, okay, or any such person. The first thing that he talks about is that the tragic hero should be a man of eminence. And the essence of an eminent man should be serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude. Now, this has to be noted. In the first place, he said that the ideal tragic hero should be a man of eminence, and his action should be serious, complete, and of certain magnitude. Okay, now one thing you have to keep in mind that we are using he as if a lady cannot become uh, a kind of personality for tragedy. Of course, we are referring to any hero or heroine, let's say, means a male or female character. A male or female character should be having some eminence, okay, and the action of that character should be serious. Means otherwise we won't take common people seriously. Complete and of a certain magnitude. Magnitude means of certain length, certain depth, we can say. As we have talked about the definition of tragedy, then time we understood that tragedy is an imitation of an action which is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude. So this action should be serious. It should be complete, means about the life of that character. And it should have some deep meaning, appealing meaning. People should be appealed by that particular meaning. Now, if you look at the tragedy of Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth, or King Lear, you will realize the meaning of this particular word. More recently, means if you are familiar with the movie, Marathi movie Nat Samrat, so if you understand the character of played by Nana Patekar in that movie, so you understand the meaning of magnitude, why we feel what we call a kind of serious feelings. We have serious feelings for that character because of his position. Means from a high position he comes to a very low position. He suffers because of that. So that's what makes the story tragic. Further, the hero should not only be eminent. Eminent means should not be of a high position, but also basically a good man. That is important. So suppose a hero is a king or a prince or she is a queen, then time that is not sufficient. Apart from that, that person should have certain good quality in him or her. Of course, it is not expected that he should be absolutely or she should be absolutely virtuous. Means virtuous means having very good qualities, means no bad qualities at all. That is not required. But basically, that person should be a good man or woman. And the sufferings, fall, and death of an absolutely virtuous man generate feeling of disgust rather than those of terror or compassion. Means if the person is absolutely virtuous, that is also not a good thing at all. Absolutely virtuous means I told you means there is not a single flaw in that person's personality. Then time as well, we feel bad, of course, for that downfall of the character, for the suffering of the character. But you will not have the terror and compassion. Means you have got a kind of fear in your mind for his suffering. And compassion means we have a kind of what you call uh, good feelings for that means for character. Compassion, for example, when a person is suffering, we also we feel sympathetic towards that person. A feeling of sympathy arises in our mind. So the hero should not be highly virtuous. That's what Aristotle feels. Miss here, Aristotle is talking about the qualities and characteristics of the ideal tragic hero. We shall go ahead. The hero should neither be a villain nor a wicked person for his fall. Means a hero should not be highly virtuous, very virtuous. At the same time, he should not be a villain or a wicked person. Otherwise, means if he's a good person, then also we do not have that feeling of terror and compassion. And if it is an absolutely bad person, a villain, then time as well. Actually, his death would please and satisfy our moral sense. Means we will not feel sad for that person. We'll be happy to see that person dying, as it happens in Hindi movies. When a villain dies, we feel very happy. Whereas when a hero suffers, then time we feel bad. Okay, so a hero, a tragic hero, the ideal tragic hero should not be too good or too bad. He's just like a miss uh, the people we see around us. Means if the person is too good, he is God, equal to God. If a person is too bad, he is equal to what you call Satan. So we will not have kind of common compassion, feeling of sympathy for both these people. Okay, therefore, Aristotle is against both these extremes. Therefore, he thinks that the ideal tragic hero should be basically a good man, but that good man should have a minor flaw or tragic trait in his character. He should have a minor flaw or tragic trait. Now, let's take the example of Ramayana. Ram, for example, Lord Ram, can be considered a tragic hero because he loses his life partner Sita twice, or thrice, we can say. Once Ravan snatches her away, kidnaps her. But when she comes back, because of somebody else, he asks her to go away from his life. And finally, Sita prefers to go into that earth. The earth opens and Sita goes into that. So he loses her three times. Now this is what makes Lord Rama to lose Sita. So it is a kind of tragic minor flaw, we can say, or tragic flaw. Ram cares more for others, what others say, than his own wife. So that is his tragic flaw. He is a good man with a minor flaw, we can say. Now, what is the problem with Nat Samrat, that Ganpat Belvankar in Nat Samrat, the role played by Nana Patekar? What is a tragic flaw in him? Actually, he trusts his children. He gives everything to his children, thinking that they will look after him in the latter stage. And that becomes the cause for his suffering. The story goes in line with William Shakespeare's King Lear. Of course, King Lear was the king, but each and every aspect of the story, except for the fact that the protagonist, the tragic hero, is an actor in this Nat Samrat, everything is similar to Shakespeare's King Lear. So that is what you need to understand. And the entire tragedy should issue from his minor flaw or error of judgment. You can see that he makes a decision, Nat Samrat, Ganpat Belvankar. He makes a decision of distributing his property between his two children, his daughter and son. And that is his error of judgment. And you must, if those who have seen the movie, they must be remembering the scene. His wife reminds him that that person committed a mistake by doing that, by giving all his property. So that is the error of judgment. In case of King Lear as well, what is the error of judgment? He asks his four daughters about their love, how much they love him. And every daughter just flatters number one, number two, number three. But the youngest one says, I love my father as much as a daughter should love. And that angers him actually, that makes him angry. Therefore, he deprives her of his property. See, he does not give her any part of his property, his wealth. So that is his error of judgment. He fails to understand his youngest daughter. And later, his three daughters, cause him, become the cause of his suffering. The fall and suffering occurs, and death of King Lear occurs because of his error of judgment. Same in the case of Nat Samrat. Now, in case of Hamlet as well, Hamlet has a minor flaw. He is in dilemma. He is in a confused state of mind all the time. So that is the cause of his suffering. That is the cause of his fall. That is the cause of his death. And this would certainly create feeling of pity and fear in the audience, in the readers. So let's understand that Aristotle says, now I quote Aristotle, of course this is the translated version, for our pity is excited by misfortune, undeservedly suffered, and our terror by some resemblance between the sufferer and ourselves. Unquote. Means we have a pity for that character. Pity means sympathy. We feel bad for the suffering, misfortunes of that person, the hero, because we think that he does not deserve that suffering. Therefore, we cry while watching such movies, tragedies. At the same time, our terror means we see ourselves in that position. For example, let's say all elderly people, or even the people who have become parents, they see themselves in the role of that Ganpat Belvenkar. What would happen to them in their old age? So this is the resemblance. Resemblance means similarity. We see ourselves in that position, and that creates a kind of fear in our mind. What will happen to us during our old age? That question arises in our mind. Further, Aristotle says, I quote, there remains for our choice a person neither eminently virtuous nor just, nor yet involved in misfortune by deliberate vice or villainy, but some error or human frailty. And this person should also be someone of high fame and flourishing prosperity. So Aristotle had said this principle, had expressed his view before 2500 years or so. And still today we follow the same principle. If you see the tragedies, you will come across similar kind of characters. A person with eminent, what you call quality, eminent position. And a person should not be neither virtuous nor villainous. A person should have some error, some frailty. Frailty means weakness. And that person should belong to some high position. He should be a successful person. He should be a wealthy person. Okay, prosperity means in terms of his success, in terms of his name and fame, a person should be well known. And such a man would make an ideal tragic hero. That's what Aristotle thinks. Now let's brief the characteristics of a tragic hero. What are the characteristics of the tragic hero? In Aristotle's view, in a good tragedy, character is very important element. Character supports the development of the plot, the storyline. And the personal motivation, actions of the characters are intricately involved with the action to such an extent that it leads to arouse pity and fear in the audience. So the personal motivation, personal desire, wish, and actions of the characters are, they cannot be separated from his actions. And they are so much intricately involved. They go hand in hand to an extent that generates pity and fear in our minds, in the minds of the audience. So the protagonist or tragic hero of any tragedy should have all the characteristics of a good character. That's what he thinks. Now, what are these characteristics? What do you mean by a good character? By this, Aristotle means that a good character should be true to the self. He should be true to the self. Means what? He should be truthful, honest to himself first. He should be true to type. Type means when we say that a good person should be like this. A good person should have all these qualities. He should be good. He should be kind-hearted. He should be helpful. He should be brave. So all these qualities are the typical characteristics, typical qualities, and that's what make him a hero. True to life as well. By a good character, we mean a character should be true to the self, true to type, true to life. Means he should have some meaningful purpose, some motivation. So a person, a good character should be probable. Probable means something not beyond our imagination, not godly. That kind of person should be living on this earth. Means we may think that yes, that kind of person can exist on this earth. It should not be just like gods and goddesses. But still that now, for example, when we talk about Baba Amde, for example, Baba Amde's life is more beautiful than that life, the life that we live in. So the successful people become a kind of motivation for us. Such kind of people can become a good character. Okay, that is what probable and yet more beautiful than life. They should not be gods and goddesses. For example, Mahatma Gandhi, let's say. Mahatma Gandhi was beautiful than life. Means what? Means we are people. We have our own lives, but Mahatma Gandhi is ideal for us because he is more beautiful than life. So that is what. So he lived on this earth. That is the fact. So the tragic hero, having all these characteristics we have mentioned, should have few more attributes. Apart from these characteristics, there are few more attributes or qualities. Which are they? Let's understand. So these are Aristotle's observations. What does he mean by a good man? Let's try to understand. A good man coming to bad end is shocking. It is shocking for the audience, and it disturbs our faith. A bad man coming to good end, neither moving nor moral. We never feel happy with that particular. Means a bad man because has what you call a good end means what? Achieve something good in his life. He does not suffer. So that does not move us. That is not moral. Then a bad man coming to bad end. It is moral. But still we don't feel sympathetic towards that bad man. And a very good man, rather good man, coming to bad end. It is an ideal situation. Okay. So Aristotle disqualifies two types of characters, we said, purely virtuous and thoroughly bad. They cannot become tragic hero. That's what we understood. So there remains but one kind of character, one who can best satisfy. We already understood this. I will skip this part. So finally, we can say that the tragic hero is a man with the following attributes. He should be a man of a mixed character. In brief, I would like to tell now, neither blameless nor absolutely depraved. Mixed character, just like us. Neither having all good qualities nor having all bad qualities. Some tragic flaw is required. His misfortune should follow from some error of flawed character. It can be short of moral taint. For example, Macbeth. Macbeth suffers because of his over-ambitious nature. He murders the king. Othello suffers because of his suspicious nature. Shakespeare's Othello suffers because of his suspicious nature. He murders his own wife because out of his suspicion, and then that causes his tragic end. A tragic hero must fall from height of prosperity and glory. Okay, a tragic hero must fall from height of prosperity and glory. He should become, for example, what happens in case of Ganpat Belvankar in Samrat. He's very rich, he has achieved success, name and fame, and finally he dies like a beggar. So this is what. The protagonist should be renowned and prosperous, I just now mentioned. And the fall of such man of eminence affects entire state or nation. Entire state or nation, expresses sympathy, pity for that person. And this happens not because of the vice, but of the error or frailty in the character. Vice means bad quality. Durgun म्हणतो मराठीमध्ये. Not because of bad qualities, but error or frailty, tragic flaw. And the technical term that he uses for tragic flaw is hamartia. Hamartia is the technical term that Aristotle uses to refer to the tragic flaw or error of judgment in the tragic hero. The ideal tragic hero should be an intermediate kind of a person, neither too good nor too bad, intermediate. Okay, he should not have all good qualities without any flaw, or he should not be villainous. He should be an intermediate kind of person. A tragic hero, the ideal tragic hero, should be a man not preeminently virtuous. Intermediate means not preeminently virtuous and just eight whose misfortune is brought upon him not by vice or superiority but by some error of judgment. The misfortune comes in that person's life because of his error of judgment. Now, for example, let's understand the character of Karna from Mahabharata. Karna can be considered the tragic hero. He is not like Duryodhana. We don't feel bad for Duryodhana. We don't feel bad for Ravan when they die because they are villainous. But we feel bad for Karna's character. Karna can be considered as the ideal tragic hero, and he suffers because of his error of judgment. He takes the side of Duryodhana because of his personal grudge with Pandavas. Otherwise, he is not a bad person as such. He suffers because of this hamartia. Hamartia is the technical term, a Greek term, which means a fatal flaw or tragic flaw. One more reason for his suffering, if you don't know the story of Mahabharata, Karna's story especially, he suffers because of his generous nature. He's very generous. You might be knowing that he's blessed with that Kavach Kundal. And that Krishna comes in the form of kind of, not beggar exactly, but a person who asked for. Yachak, we say in Marathi. And he asked, not Krishna, I think Indra. Then he comes to ask for that Kavach Kundal. And Karna is aware of the fact that he is somebody from the gods, means gods and goddesses. That is Indra itself. But still, what is his fatal flaw, tragic flaw? He thinks that he cannot say no to someone who asks for something from him. That is what hamartia is, a tragic flaw is. Okay, I'm giving you known familiar examples. And that causes his suffering. Means a tragic flaw may not be a vice, it is a moral flaw. You are too generous. That itself is a tragic flaw for Karna. Karna is too generous. खूप उदार आहे, दानशूर आहे. So that is his tragic flaw. And that makes him suffer. that makes him to die, to meet his death. So that is his tragic flaw. So hamartia may simply be a technical error or error of judgment or ignorance at times, or it can be an arrogance sometimes. A hero can be arrogant. For example, Macbeth is is an over ambitious person. He wants to be the king, and to become a king, he murders the king. So we see that he suffers because of this. So arrogance, the technical term or a Greek term used to refer to arrogance is hubris. Okay, or it can be ignorance. For example, Othello murders his wife, Desdemona. Desdemona, because of Iago, Iago makes him to feel that his wife has an affair. He becomes suspicious. And out of that suspicion, he kills his own wife, who loves him more than her life. Othello. Othello suffers because of his error of judgment, because he can't make decision whether to be or not to be. That is the question. This famous dialogue is from Hamlet. Okay, so it is because of this flaw that the protagonist comes into conflict with fate and ultimately meets his or her doom through the working of fate, or Dick in Greek. So this fate is called nemesis. Fate, working of fate is called nemesis. So nemesis causes his doom. दैव म्हणतो आपण. दैव आपलं खेळ, पण हे दैव कशामुळं, why does it become powerful? Because of the tragic flaw. I told you the example of Karna. Karna's generous nature is responsible for his suffering. If you know something about Harishchandra, King Harishchandra and Taramati, so what makes him to suffer? Because of his tragic flaw. He is very generous. What makes Lord Rama to suffer? A tragic flaw. He is very good. Therefore, he is sent to what we call exile, sent on exile by his own mother, stepmother. He could have said no, but he doesn't say no to it. What is the cause of Pandava's suffering? Dharma, for example, Yudhishthira has a tragic flaw. Now, many times both Arjun and Bhima rebuked, especially Bhima. He is angry with Yudhishthira on many occasions. Okay, this is how we understand this concept of hamartia. Hamartia means a fatal flaw or a tragic flaw. And it may consist of a moral flaw as well. For example, Yudhishthira never lies, he is a very truthful person. He follows religion very virtuously. So that becomes the cause of Pandava's suffering. So this is how we understand the concept of tragic hero.